Imagine this. It is 11:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. You're driving home from a friend's house. You aren't drunk. You aren't high. You have nothing illegal in the car. But suddenly, you see those red and blue lights flashing in your rearview mirror. Your heart rate spikes. You pull over safely to the shoulder. You turn off the engine. And then you remember a video you saw on social media. A video that told you that you have the right to privacy. A video that said you only have to roll your window down a few inches, just enough to slip your license through. So that is exactly what you do. You crack the window 2 inches, you lock the doors, you grip the steering wheel and wait. The officer approaches. He shines his flashlight directly into your eyes, but the glass reflects the glare. He taps on the window with his knuckle. "Roll the window down, sir," he says, his voice muffled by the glass. You take a deep breath and recite the line you memorized. "I can hear you just fine, officer. I am handing you my license through this slot." The officer stops tapping. His demeanor changes instantly. He puts his hand on his holster. "Sir, I am ordering you to roll the window down now." You hesitate. "I don't have to," you say. "I know my rights." 5 seconds later, the glass shatters. You are dragged out of the car, you are in handcuffs, and you are being charged with obstruction of justice. What just happened? Why didn't the magic words work? And more importantly, is it actually possible to stop a police officer from making you roll your window down? My name is Sarah, and I am here to decode the law behind the glass. Today, we're going to break down the Fourth Amendment, the concept of Mimms orders, and the one massive mistake most drivers make when they try to outsmart the police. Let me tell you about Julian. Julian made a critical error before the officer even walked up to the car. He confused a consensual encounter with a detention. This distinction is the foundation of everything that follows. When those lights go on, you are not in a consensual conversation. You are seized. Under the Fourth Amendment, a traffic stop is a seizure of your person. It is a temporary detention. This means the officer has reasonable suspicion that you broke the law or committed a crime. Reasonable suspicion is a specific legal term. It means the officer has specific, articulable facts that you broke the law. Maybe you were speeding. Maybe a taillight is out. Maybe you swerved over the yellow line. Because you are detained, the rules of a casual street conversation do not apply. The officer has command authority over the scene. Now, here's where the window myth comes from. Julian believes that the inside of his car is his private castle, and generally, he's right. Police usually need a warrant or probable cause to search inside your car. So Julian thinks, if I keep the window up, they can't smell anything and they can't look inside. He thinks he's protecting his rights. But he's forgetting about the Supreme Court case, Pennsylvania versus Mimms. This is the most important case you need to know for this situation. In Pennsylvania versus Mimms, the Supreme Court ruled that during a lawful traffic stop, an officer can order the driver to get out of the car. They don't need a warrant to do this. They don't need extra suspicion. They can do it simply for officer safety. The court decided that asking a driver to step out is a de minimis intrusion, meaning it's a minor inconvenience compared to the officer's safety. So follow the logic here. If an officer has the legal authority to force you to open the door and stand on the side of the highway, do you think the courts will protect your right to keep a window rolled up? No. Most courts have ruled that ordering a window down is an even smaller intrusion than ordering you out of the car. Therefore, if they can order you out, they can certainly order the window down. But wait. There is a specific reason officers want that window down, and it isn't just to hear you. It brings us to our second legal term, the Plain View Doctrine. Officers are trained to use all their senses: sight, sound, and smell. If the window is down, they might smell the odor of marijuana or alcohol. If the window is down, they have a clear view of your hands. If the window is down, they can look into the back seat to see if there's a weapon or contraband in plain view. Under the Plain View Doctrine, if an officer sees something illegal from a place they are legally allowed to be, standing next to your car, they can seize it without a warrant. Julian knows this. That is exactly why he wants the window up. He wants to defeat the Plain View Doctrine. But by refusing the order to roll it down, Julian is handing the officer a different weapon. He's giving the officer probable cause for obstruction. In many states, failing to obey a lawful order during a traffic stop is a crime in itself. So, is there any way to actually keep the window up legally? Or was the title of this video a lie? It's not a lie, but the answer is nuanced. You can only stop them from making you roll it down if the officer is requesting it, not ordering it. Officers are masters of linguistics. They often phrase orders as questions to get voluntary compliance. Hey, do you mind rolling that down so I can hear you? Would you mind lowering that glass? If they ask it like a question, you technically have the right to say no. However, and this is a massive however, the moment you say no, they will almost certainly switch from a request to a command. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, roll it down. At that point, your legal ability to refuse has evaporated. If you continue to refuse after a direct order, you are entering the danger zone. Let's look at what Julian should have done. Let's rewind the story. Blue lights. Julian pulls over. He turns off the car. He places his hands on the steering wheel at 10 and 2. He turns on the interior dome light if it's dark. This is a psychological play. It signals to the officer, I'm not hiding anything. You are safe. The officer approaches. He rolls the window down. Maybe not all the way, but enough to show he's compliant. Let's say he rolls it halfway. The officer says, "Can you roll that all the way down for me?" Julian pauses. He wants to assert his rights, but he doesn't want to die or go to jail. He says, "Officer, I've rolled it down enough to pass you my documents and hear you. I'd prefer to keep it here for my safety." Now, this is a gamble. Some officers will accept this. They will take the license and go back to their cruiser. In that specific case, Julian effectively stopped the officer from making him roll it all the way down. But notice what he did. He didn't scream, "I know my rights." He didn't lock the door and stare ahead. He engaged respectfully and stated a preference. But what if the officer says, "No, roll it all the way down. I need to see into the back seat"? At this point, Julian has a choice. He can comply, or he can be ordered out of the car under Mimms. If he's ordered out, he has lost the protection of the car completely. Now he's standing on the side of the road, fully exposed to a pat-down search for weapons if the officer has reasonable suspicion that Julian is armed and dangerous. So keeping the window up actually led to a worse privacy violation. There's another layer to this, the communication argument. Officers have the right to effective communication. If the wind is blowing or traffic is loud, a 2-inch crack is not enough. If you refuse to roll it down, the officer can articulate in his report, "I could not effectively communicate with the driver due to highway noise, creating a safety hazard." That report will stand up in court. Your defense of "I wanted privacy" will likely lose. So, what are the actionable takeaways here? How do you protect yourself without escalating a simple speeding ticket into a resisting arrest charge? Number 1, distinguish the request from the order. If they ask, you can politely decline. "I can hear you fine, thank you," but be ready for the follow-up order. Number 2, pick your battles. Is the goal to keep the window up, or is the goal to go home? If you refuse the window, you will likely be ordered out of the car. If you refuse to get out of the car, you will be forcibly removed. Is the window worth that ride? Number 3, control the plain view. If you don't want cops seeing inside your car, don't have illegal things in your car. But also, keep your car clean. Don't have stuff piled up that looks suspicious. If you have nothing to hide, the window position matters less. Number 4, use your words, not your silence. The mute check videos you see online are dangerous. Sitting silently with a locked window is seen as a threat. Instead, say, "Officer, I'm complying with the law. Here is my license." If you want to exercise your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, you must verbally claim it. I am invoking my right to remain silent. Then you can stop talking, but you still have to physically comply with lawful orders like roll the window down or step out of the car. Let's return to Julian for one last good ending. Officer, roll the window all the way down. Julian, officer, is that a request or an order? Officer, it's an order. Julian, I will comply under duress. He rolls it down, he hands over his ID, he gets his ticket, he goes home. Later, he calls a lawyer. He explains what happened. The lawyer reviews the body cam footage. If the officer had no valid reason to order the window down other than harassment, maybe, just maybe, there's a civil rights complaint there. But that fight happens in a courtroom, in a suit and tie. It does not happen on the side of the road at midnight. The sad reality is that American policing grants broad authority to officers in the name of safety. Pennsylvania versus Mimms and Maryland versus Wilson heavily favored the badge over the driver. The best way to stop them from infringing on your rights is to know exactly where the line is. Don't give them reasonable suspicion. Don't give them probable cause. And don't confuse a YouTube myth with a Supreme Court ruling. Stay safe, stay educated, and always film your encounters. Just make sure you do it safely. If you found this breakdown helpful, share it with a driver you care about. It might just save them a broken window.